Education Secretary Betsy DeVos has quite a big task on her hands. Critics say she is not what the country needs to help America's students.
Meantime, a recent Pew Research Center poll shows Americans are deeply divided on higher education. Frederick Lawrence, the CEO of the Phi Beta Kappa Society, the nation's oldest honor society, joins us now to break this down. Thanks so much for being here.
Pleasure.
When we looked at this particular poll, I was stunned when I saw that a third of Republicans think colleges and universities don't necessarily have a positive effect on the country, but almost 75% of Democrats do.
But it really depends on the question you ask.
Okay.
So if you ask the general question, the institutional question,
Sure.
and you say, do you think colleges and universities have a positive impact, then you get that big divide that you're talking about. It's sort of the classic polarized view that we're talking about on so many issues. You're just talking about in the program just before me.
Sure.
Now, if you ask a different question, if you ask people, what about your education? Did your education help you get a job? Did your education further your personal growth? The difference evaporates.
So then they all say yes.
Democrats and Republicans both, very high numbers, high 80s, say either it helped them somewhat or a lot in their job, and high 90s say it helped them in their personal growth. So people seem to have concerns, at least Republicans seem to have concerns about the institution generally. But you ask them about their own education, they have very high evaluation of it.
So what are the top education concerns, do you think, for members of Congress right now, and what do you think they would actually be able to get done?
Well, to a certain extent, it's about funding, and I certainly hope that Congress will do its job in making sure that there still is funding for student loans and for student programs. I was very gratified to see that what started as a budget that was a little more questionable seems to be growing now that it's on the Hill. And the House Appropriations subcommittees that are dealing with this seem to be funding programs pretty broadly, or at least recommending that. There are some concerns, for example, the Fulbright-Hays program. Very powerful program. It's only $7 million, which in a federal budget.
For those of us who don't know what that is, tell us what that is.
Fulbright-Hays is a wonderful program in which teachers travel abroad. They study world languages and world cultures. They bring that home for K through 12 and for universities and colleges.
Okay.
For so many of our students who aren't comfortable in other languages, other cultures, which is such a part of the world now, that's a very powerful program.
Based on the first statistic we were talking about and the disparity when you ask that question, if I'm a student right now, if I'm a parent who's getting ready to send my kids to college, should I be concerned considering we've got a Republican White House and a Republican Congress?
No.
Okay.
You should be comfortable with the fact that American colleges and universities, which are under stress in many ways, and certainly financially under stress, continue to be among the finest institutions of higher learning in the world. And that's not just from me. I saw this as a university president, that the number of international students we had of very high quality, frankly, it's whatever number we wanted. The demand was overwhelming. So students vote with their feet, and they'll come from all over the world to study in this country.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we've also seen our share on college campuses of racial tensions, racist incidents, perhaps. And do you think that gives universities, maybe it's a grounds to actually talk about these things and come together, but do you think it also, on the other hand, concerns people about sending their kids to college or kids going there themselves?
I think it does, and I think it goes back to the first question you asked me. I think some of that polarization is what people see on campuses. I think it is terribly important that our campuses be places that are open to broad debate, broad discussion. No one has a right not to hear things they disagree with. As a matter of fact, that's part of what you go to college for.
Absolutely.
People have a right to be safe. They have a right not to be threatened. They have a right not to be intimidated. But they don't have a right not to be challenged. As a matter of fact, I'd say it the other way around. I think you have a right to be challenged in college. That's why you're going there.
Gotta grow, gotta have diversity. Otherwise, we just stay all like this. Frederick Lawrence, CEO of the Phi Beta Kappa Society, thanks so much for coming in.
Pleasure. Thank you.